and you seek his face always, I don't think I've ever said this, but could it be one of the things that has to do with seeking his face always has to do with being aware of the expression that might be on it? I don't know. I just felt like that was just put in my head like 1 second ago, so I thought I'd say it, okay? Seeking his face. When you seek someone's face, I'm looking at the audience. If I'm seeking, my wife's face, I can look and say, oh, there she's sitting right there. I'm seeking her face. And I'm noticing the expression on her face, which is a smile right now, okay? And it's getting redder too. Okay, but the whole idea of seeking his face, it's such a strange idiomatic phrase to some degree because okay, what does it mean to seek his face? We can't see him, but I think it has to do with, I'm just going with it right now based on the other things he's already said in this verse, in the psalm here, what the writer wrote, is the idea of seeking, thinking about, searching for the expression that might be on that face, being aware that he's watching, being aware that he's observing what you're doing and what you're saying and what you're feeling and what you're thinking and all of that stuff. Seeking his face. So as we do this, I think that's part of the remembering all that he's done and remembering all that he continues to do for us, also has us to remember that we should be concerned with the expression on his face. We have verses that talk about to seek and to search out and to have a desire to do what's well-pleasing in his sight. Well, how do we know? Well, we know what he says, but how do we know? We should be thinking about, well, what I'm doing right now, if I kind of put on his shoes for a second, would I be proud of the person that I'm doing this right now? Would I be pleased? Would I be angry? Would I be disappointed? Would I be sad? Because some of you will do things and your spouse or whoever you're close with, or a good friend of yours might be around, and you see the expression on their face and you go, yep, I really wasn't paying attention and I just did something that really upset them. Or, hey, they really like that. I need to remember to do that more, And so it's that feedback that we get so easily with the expressiveness of our face. A little harder to do with Yahweh's face not really being there where you can see it. But I think you can use enough imagination to say, okay, if I step outside of myself, looking at what I'm doing as an observer, what would I think of that, even in my flesh? And then place the idea of, well, what would Yahweh be thinking? Because we forget, I think, very often that he literally is right there all the time, seeing everything we're doing. We have this idea like Moses, oh, nobody saw me kill the Egyptian. Right? Nobody saw me do that. Because we think I'm alone in my house, or I'm alone at work, or whatever, wherever you're alone. Or maybe you're not alone, but nobody else is with you but you and the one person. Oh, but nobody else knows what we're doing. But he always knows. See, and that's part of the covenant was what? To do everything he says, not just when you're in public, not just when others can see you, but knowing that he always is seeing you. And so that obedience is, I was going to say 24/7, but you're asleep part of that. So whatever hours you're awake, that's your obedience time. That 16 to 18 or so hours a day that you're actually not sleeping. That's the time where, when you're eating, you need to be obedient and eat the right things. When you're talking to people, the actions you take, the things that you do, these are all things that will either put a smile on his face or cause him to be a little disappointed, or maybe a lot disappointed. And so I think this is a really, we seek Yahweh. So we should know, by seek Yahweh, I'm going to put that in as a definition. When he says seek Yahweh, he says figure out and understand what he desires us to do and not do. Then seek his strength in doing it or not doing it, because sometimes it takes more strength not to do something than to do it. I don't know about you, but every now and then I'm ready to get so angry and I probably pull a muscle trying to stop. There are things that it really is a lot harder to stop doing and not do than to do, and you need his strength. And then we need to now be checking the pulse, so to speak, and seeking his face and saying, okay, how'd I do? Are you pleased? Are you disappointed? And we have to have a strong level of honesty with ourselves. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to, if you realize you disappointed him, don't go into depression and be overly disappointed in yourself. Teshuvah, get back on path, and make an effort to do better. He's not looking for you to beat yourself up. And, we don't do those little, whips and things and do all those other things we've seen people do in history, to try to make penance of some sort. No penance necessary. You repent, you teshuvah, and you do better. That means that you have to do the hard part, which is forgive yourself. That's the hardest part of forgiveness. So, seek Yahweh and his strength, and seek his face always,